Hi, this is Susan, and I wanted to show you my new obsession. I'm off lamps and I'm on to bottles. And this started, well, it started with two things, but it was Miniature Addiction Club did, I think it was this, similar to this, little decanter. And then she did a hookah. And they both caught my attention because of the shape and the form. So let me give her credit for, and she did a really good video. It's her last video if you want to go over and look at it. Lou at Miniature Addiction Club. She's very talented. She did a boho room box, which was Moroccan style. And so I've been wanting to do that ever since I saw that. So I imagine she's putting her hookah in there. So let me tell you about the hookah. I looked it up, and that is, hookah means vase or vessel, and it's from the 16th century. It's Hindu, Arabic. They didn't know which to credit it to because it spread throughout the Middle East and India at that 16th century. And it's to heat and vaporize. Now, I'm talking about this. It's to heat and vaporize tobacco smoke for inhaling through water. And then, of course, they used it for opium, hashish, and cannabis. So, and these are popular today. Now, I was showing it to my friend, and he said, like, are you promoting drugs? And I was like, no. But, you know, if you see in the movies or in, like, action TV shows, you'll see someone sitting along a sidewalk with one of these, and they're smoking their tobacco through it. And so I realized after I saw hers that I had seen these many times and never thought about doing beads with it. So yay, another bead project. So I used a hairband, and that worked out really good. It's a little stiff, though, because it's got a square rubber piece inside of the hairband. And they come in, you know, lots of different colors. Of course, that's got more than one tone. I think I got these at Dollar Tree. That's the, you know, that's how they actually looked. Let me show you the picture I drew from the internet. So I was drawing this vase. I was actually going to make this before I saw her video. It's something I already had similar in my antique store. And so I want to do an antique, like a world market, kind of, you know, with furniture and all that. So I wanted to go through my tubs and pulled out real unique furniture and do a whole interesting world market. But see, this is I was trying to break down what I was looking at on the internet into beads. And so this piece right here is a little tray, and this was for putting like your match or something, and then it connects to the hose on this at that point, and then there's a tray up here where this would be what you would put your tobacco or whatever you're putting into it, and then you've got the little dish up here that you put it into. And so this is kind of an oval. It's not completely round. And those acrylic beads, I'll show you my beads and things that I'm using and give you ideas. Now here was another one. This was a little bit more rounded, and it had different style to it. You can see that they're different. They all seem to have this little dish right here underneath the cup, but and they all seem to have the neck of the bottle. But if you look at it and then draw it and imagine breaking it into beads, then you know what beads to go to in your stash. Or if you want to order beads, then you know what you're looking at. Okay, so you see this is where it comes above the first tray, and the hose inserts into it. And then it's got this part that they, you know, draw the smoke into their mouth. So these were, I said I was going to do a Moroccan room box, and these were the pieces that I was making that were Moroccan style out of the fan blades, if you're wondering. These are those wedding fan, and so I made these tables, and this one kind of, well, I'm going to keep knocking that over. This one is dual purpose. It's a planter. So if you want to look at that video. Now, in this style, they had these big pillows, and they might sit around the big pillows, around the table. Okay, so the little bottles have been my passion. And these acrylic beads, you've seen this one. Maybe I've showed this to you and other things. These are acrylic plastic beads. I got those off of Temu, and I had lots of different. I've got these tacked down, but lots of different. I don't know what I was saying. On Temu, they have a lot of different colors of, off-white, white, black, just all different colors of these plastic that are really great for these bottles. Now, this was just a crackle bead that I got, and actually this was strung on this string, and I guess it was dyed on the string, and so I ended up using the string to make this piece to hang on it, thinking, that kind of makes it even more fancy. So you can make it out of the silver beads, you can make it out of the gold beads. And these are the stamped bead caps, and I told you the difference in my video recently about the different beads, and I showed you these came off of Temu. There's like a pack of, I don't know how many. There was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5, 6 different designs, and then several of each, and they were in a big plastic case on Temu. Okay, so here's a silver, and thank you, Nachi, for these tubes. They're just, this is the first thing I've put in it, and it makes it seem so grand. These cloche, to put it into a cloche, and again I used the one of the other strings that my beads were strung on to make the little tie. So just have fun with it, and and then you want to coordinate. If you have little crystals up at the top, these are those teardrop. They're like, let me see. I went through my small stash. It took a long time because I had to go through the small and the big. See, let's see if I can. Maybe the blue will show it better. These are just teardrop shape. You can actually use just oval shape too, as long as they're really small to go in the top. And I was going to show you the ones that some others that I've finished, and then show you beads. Now I'm working on this one because I had this big orange bead, and orange and blue. I was looking at Moroccan style for making making tile and flooring, and this was a fabric that was on the internet, and I just copied it, a piece of it, to kind of. The thing in the Middle East is they don't put like pictures up on the wall of people. They put abstracts. A lot of this kind of a style is more, and then they'll put carpets, and they don't have, I don't know, it's their culture not to have people's faces up on the wall, or pictures like that, painted pictures. It's more this kind of thing if you go and research it. So this one I've glued up. If you put your beads together, glue them up and let them stay overnight, and then before I cut this in half, I put super glue on the band where I was going to cut it at the juncture, just to strengthen the ends of it after I cut it, so that the rubber would stay put and everything. So then the next thing is to make your ends, and then let this sit overnight. Don't, it won't hold right away. I'm using this tube of super glue gel. I get this at the Dollar Tree. It's the same like Loctites, has their gel super glue style. I think this is a better purchase money wise, but it needs to set up. Now the other thing is, I forgot and put my little perfume bottles inside a little plastic container, and I only had them in there like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I opened it up, and that frost gets on it from the super glue, and it's in the vapors are in the air, and they emit for a while. So anytime you glue anything up with the super glue, if you've ever seen the crystallization that happens, I mean, it completely covered the beads, and I had to go back with a Q-tip and use acetone nail polish remover. I had to go back and completely remove it off of every one of the perfume bottles, and it happened so fast. So anytime you're gluing with that, any of this, don't put it in a bag or a bottle or something. And you may not want to have it like where you're sitting, you know, take it away and set it somewhere. So let me show you some more of these little bottles. I'm just so crazy about these. It's the neck of them. And I ran out of the first little bead that I had. And so then I started combining beads at the neck, because it needs to be slender, because it seems like you would handle it that way. You would take it, you know, grab it that way and pull the stopper out and pour it. So I am using a lot of these fluted cone style. These are two different shapes. And I'll show you the main beads that... Now, I showed you in that bead that I got this new crown bead, and I was trying to find something interesting to do with it, and so it was the first one that I built. It has, using that, well, just glad it didn't hit the floor all the way. I still haven't found the candlestick I dropped yesterday. So it didn't have, I didn't know what I was going to use it for, and it's just wonderful in this. Now, this is an oval shape glass faceted bead, and this right here is the one that I'm using quite a bit of, and I'll show you. I got those off of Temu. This big one I got off of eBay along with the crown, and then you'll just need little spacer beads, a lot of little spacer beads. And then I just went in my stash. It's not faceted, but it is blue, so it matched. So, and then I had that in the cloche. I showed it to you, and I just think it's so pretty. The blue and gold is just fabulous together, and then the blue and silver is fabulous. If you look at those, either way, I really recommend the blue. I see why the Moroccan style is blue and orange, or it's beautiful. Okay, so gold. There's also gold in there. This deeper gold, and I made this one hoping it looked like it had like whiskey inside of it or something, you know, to put at the house, like it's filled up. And it's again using those same two cone shapes. And this foot right here, this bead cap, I'll show it to you that I got it recently as well. And I recognized the writing was the same guy or the same company that I bought my last beads from. That was Amy or Amemy or something like that, Amemy, on eBay. And also it's called, it's got 3 different names. It's called Dancing Dragonfly. So they'll have a lot of things, but you just need to look up gold bead caps if you're on eBay or on Temu, and then see what their supply is. So here it is again, and this is this is one bead right here. It's just a long spacer. So There's also on Temu, there's these. So these would work for a Moroccan boho style. And when you get these, there's no, it's very random what they send you. I got 3 of one, 2 of another, 4 of one of them. So it was kind of hard. There's some geometric, which these are softer lines that the Moroccan seems to be softer, rounder lines of geometric than more modern, what we think of geometric. And I also found this in my stash, so I'm going to have to make a little statue with him. Love an elephant. And then it's something about luck if it's turned one direction or the other. So anybody knows the trunk, the certain whatever direction for luck. So let me show you the ones that I've glued up. Now the thing you want to do is get those backs for your that you put on your earrings, and you can get a bag of those, off of Temu. But that way, when you're putting these on the head pin and you're stringing them, first off, I wish I had thought to use these when I was doing the lamps. I was putting them in bags to keep them all on the head pin, but this way you can keep them on the head pin and you can actually use this as a stopper. I mean, in this one, it kind of looks like it's part of the design, and I could turn it over. But I know this is just a round one as opposed to doing more oval shape. I put the big cap on the bottom so that you don't see as much of the bead as the large. But you can't put 2 of them because then it makes it even larger, so you need a smaller cap up here. And then that's the same 2 cone bead cap styles. Okay, here's another one that's using it like the blue. This is the amber. I really like that shape. And this was my other, I had a few of these blue, so this was another that I made. This one I put you can see the difference. So there's just no wrong way if you have this particular style cap right here. It's so useful, and you can enjoy using your stash, gold or silver. Now this one is I had one of these I only had one of these beads that is all gold. And so this is a neat color, teal, kind of a teal blue. It looks so pretty with the silver. So you're going to want to go through your stash, and your small and your bigger, and find coordinating. Now here again is the same bead with the gold and the silver. That's using that crown. So those colors are, and they're common in the, now this is a vintage. This bead was a little bit big. I'm going to look and see if I have a little bit smaller for the top. Be the stopper. And I'm just having so much fun with these. But I don't glue things up until like the next day, unless it just jumps at me and says, oh, that's just absolutely perfectly, wonderful. I try to like come back and look at them and see if there's something else that, I found later and want to tweak or exchange out some base or something. So they're just exactly right to my eye. So here's another of the oval shape, using the stamped bead caps. I always say, you'll hear me say it again, you can't go wrong with bead caps. You'll just have so much fun with the bead caps. Okay, so let me show you a few things. Let's see, now this one was a crackle bead. If you're going to order beads, I think that it might have been like at Hobby Lobby or at, at their gallery. It was Michael's or Hobby Lobby, one of those. It was a strand. And so the crackle beads turn out really cute. So let me move these things. And I'll show you a few of the bead things. And don't forget to go, if you haven't made your table or your planter, that's a lot of fun too. To make that. Let's see. Oh, I was trying not to knock that over. Tonight I'm knocking everything over. It's hard working from behind the camera. I know when I first started filming, I didn't have a clue. I even asked, someone made a comment, and I said, well, where do I put the camera? I really had no clue. I've gotten better. It's only taken me a whole year, almost. But I still knock things over. And, okay, so these are some vintage beads. The orange was, well, it resurged in the 70s. I know that. But I don't know if these are all plastics. So if you're looking at the thrift store, I think this was all one necklace. I want to say this was all, the oranges all were in one necklace. And we see these I got all the different colors of these years ago. And so these turn out to look like liquid in the bottle. So you might want to get, I like the dark gold the best. But then the lighter, it could be wet scotch, and even the clear. I'm going to have to make a bigger base. I keep knocking that one over. The hookah I'm working on. So you might want to get some that look like they're liquid. Okay, so then I just had some odd shapes. Have you seen the strands where it's like big beads and they're like this style of bead, where you might have seen these. They had them at Joann's, where they had the big beads were all in a strand in the gallery, and so there was all single interesting looking beads. And so these are clay. If you're not knowing what to look for these on eBay or something, these are clay, and then they press in the different bead pieces. See, there's bead caps there and on each end, and then this is all pressed into the clay. And I don't know if at this point they put something, they cook it and that's enough, or it looks like it is shiny, so it might be a particular kind of clay where it holds it. It doesn't really seem, there's these little rhinestone, flat back rhinestones, so it doesn't really look like they've put something over it. But anyway, they're clay. So if you want to look for them, if you don't have them. And so the other thing you can do is, see how these have, here's some bronzy looking ones that were on those strands that either you loved them or you hated them and thought they were huge and gaudy, but now you wish you had them because these are so great. That's kind of, I liked them. I'm big, so I'm real tall. I'm almost 6 foot, so I liked, the big and had fun with them. Now I have a whole plastic, tub of the big, and hardly wore them at all. I had my favorites that I made up. Okay, this one has a lot of gold on it, so that's an interesting thing to do too, is take just a little strand, not much of a paintbrush, either just the tiniest bit of a detail brush, and just dip it in gold or silver and just go over your bead in swirls or swipes. Swirls or swipes. In the 50s, I think it was, that they had red with the gold. I have some of those vintage beads. But this gives it even more interest if you add the gold or the silver. And then there's the kind that have the embedded color into them that are, what, A's? AB is the iridescent. Now these were just silver balls, so they would be pretty because you have all the bead caps with them, and you could even do the contrast of silver and gold. Now this one I got at one of the shows, And it's a little bit large. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought a whole bunch of these. I really don't. But it looks like a world globe. And I was into the turquoise and the green and blues and all. So I was thinking this might be kind of cool in a bottle or a hookah. But these were some that were on those big long strands. Those would be interesting. And then the blues are pretty. And here's just more of the rhinestones, the clear. You know, clear could be vodka if you're making a bar, you know. I had like the tea cart that I had the bar set up on at one point, but then I ran out of enough room in my dollhouse, so it'll have to be set up in another. This was an interesting bead. Looks like a disco ball. That would be pretty for a bottle. And then there's just so many. Here's another with the gold. There's just so many that they put the gold onto. And this one has the two colors of red and frosted. So any and all of these would be great, because I went through my stash one evening just sitting there on the floor trying to pull out anything I thought, you know, would work. And some that, you know, just wouldn't fit. So here's the, this is off Temu. This is that, the numbers. Let's see. There's the numbers for those. These you'll use a lot of. And here's the gold one, the number for it. If you want them, you definitely need these for the bottles. And then this is that same handwriting of the things I just received from Dancing Dragonfly. And I've used this as a base for the bottles. Let's see. It's a little bit larger than the... I got all these. This was full. I don't know if it was like 300 little... I got these off Temu in this. And actually, I have really come to use quite a bit of them for the tall, skinny lamps. And then now for the tops of these, I'm using a lot more of these. So they're all bead caps. So you're wanting bead caps. So this is a bead cap, and it has like, let me see if I can get into focus with it. Well, wants to focus, but it's just not, keeps popping out of focus. It's got prongs on it comes to points. So if you're using these are rounded. They're more rounded than pointed. Okay, so here's one that's got points on it. So if you're trying to order things, you might look for what's this one. See, they're rounded. I might be a lot more picky than you are, but see, this bead cap has got rounded edges, and this is all rounded design, so I put the rounded. So you might want to coordinate your more pointy and more rounded, but I find I use a lot more. You know, this one has the one I just showed you off Temu, and it has this little bow here, and I have not found that bow bead. And then there's the one that I was trying to show you that I got off eBay, using it as the foot. And this is one of the smaller bottles. This one's a little bit different, little bead. It's just a spacer bead. It's elongated with little bumps. But the bead there that, I'm not going to get this in focus if I couldn't get the other. It's a little tube bead, and it looks like a little bow tie. And I haven't found it on eBay yet, and I don't know if I only got a few of them because I never used them. I don't know. But if you find it, please tell me where you found it, because I haven't been able to find it. Now, you'll need, like, oh, this is another one that works well on these. It's another cone bead, and the bumps are nice. And I've combined this one with the other one, where this will be at the, let's see, one of these had that where this here had it where it's that one down below and then the other one up here. So also I was telling you to keep your caps off of your glue, because on the hookah you have to have this, and I was thinking, I didn't know if it would paint really well. I was going to have to paint it, but I could do it with, you know, it's plastic. I haven't found exactly what works the best on painting plastic, so. But on the hookah, you see the handle, the mouthpiece part, not handle, mouthpiece. So I was thinking that this would also work like on a garden hose. So I'm using my old one on my new tube and saving this for something. So I think that's everything I wanted to show you. Again, this is the little crown that looks so cute in the footing, and then this is that big bead cap. It comes in gold or silver. That's great for holding the big round beads. And those are all off eBay. And then this one, that's the medium size, you can put it in the smaller bottles. These are the silver. And I'm using these for on the hookah. I've got these, I had a few of these in gold and silver, and these are what I'm using for the tray. I'm using them upside down because it's the closest thing to flat that I had in that size. So that's a real handy bead to have. Bead cap. It is curved, so it's considered a bead cap. But it matches a lot of things. So I hope you'll want to do these, and I'd love to see your picture. I do have the different parts. Now, I don't expect that you have all the same parts that I have to the hookah, but these are the parts. I used the hair bands, like I said, and I used the big bead. I've got a couple of different colors in it, but it took about 16 pieces, 17 pieces, including the bead, to put it together. So I hope you'll give it a try. And if you want to go over to Miniature Addiction Club and look at what Lou made hers totally different. So go and look and see, you know, how she made hers. And thank you, Lou, if you see this video, because you just so inspired me. And even the bottles have, you know, come from seeing your decanter. So please subscribe if you haven't. You got to sign in. And I appreciate when you do that and you leave me comments, and I just love to hear from you. And some of you have been sending me pictures of things that you've made, and even things that I've put out here that you've gotten your own beads. And so I'm so happy to see that you're actually, you know, getting some good use out of these videos, and it's inspiring you as well, you know, because we're all inspiring each other. And so I thank you so much for coming by. Bye-bye.